Okay, so the first one is, so the first lesson was very early on, obviously working in a very high pressure sales environment, which was really awesome for me. I loved it because I'm, you know, as you can assume, I'm a talker, and that's really good for sales. And I loved sales. I was always like in the top performing quintile of salespeople, if not the top of the top at some points, depending on the product. But I think in sales, it's the client relationship that comes first. So I think one thing that I teach as a basic fundamental of sales is that, the engagement and the discovery of every conversation is crucial. It doesn't matter how good your product is, doesn't matter how much features and benefits you share of that product until you actually build a good relationship. Until the client's ready to listen, don't bother. Doesn't matter how good it is, So number one is that the client comes first in every single scenario. So in every business you have, if you're not putting the client first, you're setting yourself up to fail. If it's not now, it's in 5 years' time. It's in 10 years' time. If you try and scale without the ideology of the customer as the center of everything that you do, don't bother. Like, you need to change that ideology. Not the money, not the people, not how many nice cars you have and how nice your office is, or how many monitors you have, or how many curved monitors you invest in. If your client process or pipeline is not given the love, the TLC that it requires, you are screwing yourself over. Whether or not today it's going to be in the long run, it's going to happen. So that's the first one. Oof. I think the second one is that if you become a leader, make sure you develop yourself as a leader. Just because you're a good employee doesn't make you a good leader. A lot of companies do it, especially locally. Oh, you're a top salesman? You know what? Build a team. It's going to be really good. And then they just suck. Yeah. And the people end up leaving them because most likely, and it is incredibly likely, that a high-performing employee has sociopathic tendencies, because that's just how it is. You're just a lone wolf. So when then you have people depending on you, unless and it's a trainable skill.
It's a different ball game.
It is because you need to be patient. You need to listen. You need to give time. You need to train. You need to invest time in your people. Give them the right tools. Sometimes you need to adapt certain training mechanisms that are different to different people, because some people learn differently. Sometimes you have to have difficult conversations. Sometimes you have to give feedback. Sometimes you have to take it. You fish for it. So I think as a leader, you just need to learn to value the aspect of leadership and not just performance. So it's no longer just about the numbers. I mean, the numbers are important, yes. But I think the bottom line, again, is building good people relationships. The third one...
You're doing great, so...
Am I? But the thing is, I'm scared of leaving something out. But, that's what drove me into coaching with leadership. So I'm sticking back to point 2 before going to point 3, because this is important. I think is knowing how to a certain extent, be able to coach through really actively listening is key. And having that curiosity and that humility to say, I'm still not good enough. I'm still not good enough as a leader. I've worked with humble but confident leaders, and I've thrived. And I've worked with confident but very egotistic leaders, and I've struggled personally. Because if you're not willing to listen to your people will eventually leave. When they get good enough and they start to learn their value, they won't stay with you. They'll go with someone who values them more. And thirdly, learn how to put the right processes in place to get data, and then use the data to make data-driven decisions. Intuition will get you to a certain point, but it will plateau and it will keep you there.